What's going on, everyone? Badger here. Make sure to like and sub. And let's get into this, which in this case, it's The Mandalorian. Yeah, I know you're so excited. It's still Star Wars to talk about, right? And for some reason, they're still going to do season 4, and they're doing their oh so originally inspired movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm assuming it's the same person that came up with the title of Deadpool and the Wolverine. We just say the names of who's in the movie and put an and in between them, and that's what it is. But in this case, it's going to be talking precisely about how long they're going to film for and the budget for it. Because we've heard Disney got a spending problem, and it's not just about their Marvel; it's their Star Wars too. Wait till you find out how much the difference between how much Kenobi cost and Andor cost, and then the two differences in quality. Spoiler: Kenobi had a much higher budget and did way less with it. Andor had much less and did way more with it. Here we go. Okay, so this is from the Bespin Bulletin. Last month, Lucasfilm formally announced The Mandalorian and Grogu, a feature film that follows the maybe that first season, Disney Plus series The Mandalorian. At the time, Lucasfilm only shared that production on the movie would start later this year, but earlier this month, Production Weekly and the FTIA shared that filming on the Jon Favreau directed flick is due to begin on June 17th, 2024. When covering the reports, I shared that I too had heard the month of June being the start window. I can also now add when filming is currently slated to finish. According to my sources, filming on The Mandalorian and Grogu will run from June until October, marking it a 4-month-long shoot. Yeah, 4 months. By the way, the reshoots for Thunderbolts were 5 months. So in the time, and as we've said, that really means they're reshooting that movie for like the third time. So they're going to do an entire movie in 4 months long. For comparison, the last season of The Mandalorian season 3 filmed from late September 2021 until March 2022, a 6-month shoot. And that's just for principal photography and reshoots and pickups that they did later. If all goes to plan, Lucasfilm will have plenty of time to get The Mandalorian and Grogu ready for a 2026 release. The last season of The Mandalorian spent a year in post-production, and we assumed that the same would happen for The Mandalorian and Grogu, meaning the film could be complete well in advance. Yeah, by the way, movies have been done in 3 months and been great. I'm not saying, I think most production times are, mostly 4 to 6 months. I think it's just funny, but this is really more spin of the Thunderbolts. People go, it's just planned reshoots, when they're spending as much time, if not more, on those reshoots as we see here than an entire movie being filmed. It's just some fun little cope on that end. Given the Lucasfilm and Disney both stated The Mandalorian and Grogu will lead their theatrical slate, you'd assume the film takes place in the May 2026 window, but at this moment, Disney and Lucasfilm are not being committal publicly. It was also reported at the Insider earlier this year that The Mandalorian and Grogu would release in May 2026. The untitled Rey Palpatine movie would release in December 2026, and James Mangold's Origins of the Jedi movie would release in December 2027. And that Origins of the Jedi, the Dawn of the Jedi is what they're calling it, even though there's already been a book and a comic series based on that exact time period. They don't even try to hide the fact that they're ripping off and then badly ripping off. One thing Jeff Snyder has repeatedly mentioned on his podcast is that Disney is looking to spend a lot less on their films, for example. Yeah, because the last one's Solo lost money. And Rise of Skywalker, certainly, maybe you could say it made some of its original budget back, but I think it lost money too. It also killed the franchise, because when's the last thing you heard anything from JJ? Thanks, JJ. Killer franchises. Snyder has shared that Disney didn't want to pay high fees for the Fantastic Four cast. Well, that's why they got Pedro. And that Blade would be made for under $100 million. Also finding out they're going to delay Blade again. Yep. This leads me to the minor tidbit I've heard from a singular source that the budget on The Mandalorian and Grogu isn't as high as what a season of The Mandalorian would cost. Yeah, I bet. The first of The Mandalorians was reported to cost $15 million an episode. This brings the budget to $120 million for the first season. We don't know if the series became more expensive. It did, because you also hired more people. You'd assume it would have, especially with season 3 in particular. It's also been reported that Skeleton Crew, I fucking totally forgot that was happening. Skeleton Crew, the upcoming live action series from John Watts, is the most expensive LA-based Star Wars series. Jesus. Yeah. And as for the 4th season of The Mandalorian, I have no idea what's happening with that. You know what? No one does. And that's just him pontificating. So there we go. They're going to shoot for about 4 months. They're going to spend less than they did on the show itself. And we won't even see this until 2025 at some point. I at this point, I'm just watching this for the lulls and the memes and how badly they're going to cuck it up. Because that third season, no bueno. No bueno. They peaked with Luke Skywalker, even if that was key jangling. Everyone was just happy to see Luke not a piece of shit again. Let me know what you think of this. Make sure to like, share, sub if you've done that. Thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you. And
well, bye.